All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely crack the code on one of the most vital concepts you're going to need, not just for your exams, but for your entire marketing career. Think about this. HUL sells soap to a daily wage worker in rural Bihar, and they sell to a skincare enthusiast in Bandra. Same company, completely different products. How do they do it? Well, that is the magic of market segmentation.
So let's start with this massive puzzle. How does the exact same company successfully sell to entirely different worlds? Hindustan Unilever Limited, or HUL, is India's absolute largest fast-moving consumer goods company. We're talking over 35 power brands touching roughly 1.4 billion consumers across the entire country. When you really think about that sheer scale, this immense distribution network that spans massive megacities all the way to the most remote villages, you kind of have to wonder how they actually manage it. And here's the secret to their total market dominance. They absolutely do not do it by making one generic product for everyone. No way. They do it through a surgical, highly calculated strategy designed to capture every single wallet size and every specific need.
And honestly, nothing illustrates this paradox quite like looking at two wildly different products side by side. You have a budget necessity, and then you have a premium indulgence. Take a 5-rupee Lifebuoy sachet. It's built entirely for basic hygiene and very tight weekly budgets. From a strategic financial standpoint, this product is all about driving massive volume and deep market penetration. But then you have a premium Dove body wash co-created with dermatologists, totally designed for a luxurious bathing experience. This product isn't about volume at all. It's about driving really high profit margins. It's the exact same parent company, but they are playing in entirely different universes with entirely different financial goals. So, to solve this puzzle, here is our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We'll define the concept, look at the 4 types, see how HUL does it, and wrap up with your key takeaway.
Okay, let's jump right into section 1 and get the core theory down.
In plain English, market segmentation just means recognizing that you literally can't make one single product for 1.4 billion people. So, you group them into buckets that share similar needs. It's the strategic realization that the average consumer is a total myth. By dividing this massive, super fragmented market into specific, manageable subgroups, a company can perfectly tailor its formulas, its packaging, the price points, and the ads to speak directly to the people in that specific bucket. Think about the huge risk of not doing this, right? If you try to build a product that attempts to please everyone, you inevitably end up with a compromised mess that delights absolutely no one. And that leaves your brand super vulnerable to niche competitors who can just serve those specific needs way better.
Let's move to section 2. The 4 main types of segmentation, and we're going to use some simple, real-world Indian examples for these.
First up is demographic. This is all about income, age, and household size, and it's probably the most visible form of segmentation out there. For Unilever, this means matching small, really affordable single-use sachets to the specific financial realities of rural consumers. Let's look at the psychology of the liquidity cycle here, because it's fascinating. A daily wage earner operates on a very tight, weekly cash cycle. They literally only have the cash on hand for a week's worth of product at a time. On the flip side, a high-income urban household on a steady monthly salary cycle loves the convenience of large premium pump bottles. It is the exact same fundamental need, cleaning yourself, but packaged perfectly to fit the demographic's financial reality.
Next is geographic, because obviously what works in the blistering dry heat of Delhi might be terrible in the humidity of Chennai, right? Or think about the hard water up in the mountains. A brilliant example of this from the Unilever ecosystem is how they actually adapt the formulation of Rin detergent specifically to tackle the hard water found in the Himalayan regions. They are literally tweaking the chemical makeup of the product based purely on the geography of the consumer. Just think about the incredible supply chain headaches this causes. It means HUL is actively managing distinct formulas, totally separate production runs, and highly specific logistics routes just to make absolutely sure that someone washing clothes in the mountains gets the exact same lather as someone down in the plains.
Then we have psychographic, which is honestly just a fancy marketing word for lifestyle and mindset. It taps into how people view the world, their core values, and their emotional connections. Take Surf Excel. Instead of just boringly talking about removing stains, they target progressive parents with their famous Dog Achhe Hain or Dirt is Good campaign. And this perfectly explains why psychographic segmentation is a total game changer. When you connect with the consumer on a values level, their price sensitivity just drops. These progressive parents aren't just buying soap, they feel like they're buying validation for their parenting style. It positions the detergent as an enabler of their kids' learning, not just some boring household chore.
Finally, behavioral. This looks at actual real-world shopping habits.
Like, are you a daily loyalist buying staples, or are you an occasional convenience shopper? For instance, HUL positions Lifebuoy around daily hygiene habit formation, so heavy, everyday repeat usage. But on the flip side, look at a brand like Lakmé. They see these massive sales spikes from occasional buyers who only splurge on premium makeup during the Diwali festive season or the big wedding months. And this illustrates customer lifetime value, or CLTV, perfectly. Lifebuoy relies on low-margin, high-frequency purchases to build a massive CLTV over decades. Lakmé, they rely on high-margin, low-frequency purchases to extract their value.
All right, section 3. This is where it gets really fun, because we get to see this textbook theory applied by a corporate giant.
Just look at this massive dual reality HUL operates in. They pull 60% of their sales from urban markets and 40% from rural ones. That requires completely different strategic muscles. In urban centers, they are laser-focused on rapid premiumization, pushing expensive serums, liquid detergents, modern supermarkets. But in that 40% rural market, it's a completely different game. It's all about deep, deep distribution. They utilize their Project Shakti network, which is incredible. Project Shakti empowers over 160,000 rural women entrepreneurs. And they aren't just delivery agents, they are trusted local influencers. It's a brilliant way to solve that incredibly complex last-mile trust and distribution problem that supermarkets usually solve in the cities.
So how does HUD actually operationalize all this theory on such a massive, nationwide scale? Well, it all boils down to a fundamental shift in perspective, represented by the number 14.
HUL has this brilliant strategy called winning in many Indias, or WAMI. They completely threw out the idea of an average Indian. It doesn't exist to them. Instead, they de-averaged the country, splitting it into 14 distinct clusters based on highly specific local preferences, cultural nuances, skin and hair types, and climate conditions. And listen, this wasn't just some clever marketing gimmick. It required a complete structural overhaul of their management. HUL actually decentralized their teams, giving regional heads the power to make localized decisions fast. This allows a massive, slow-moving conglomerate to act like 14 nimble, hyper-local startups.
And because of this, they can be culturally resonant with insane precision. For example, they dug into regional preferences and launched a highly localized campaign for Pears soap that focused almost entirely on the glow benefit, casting a really prominent South Indian celebrity purely for the South market. This wasn't just some generic national ad they lazily dubbed into local languages. It was a ground-up regional strategy designed purely for the tastes of that specific geographic and demographic cluster. And strategically, this is exactly how HUL builds a fortress to prevent aggressive, hyper-local, direct-to-consumer brands from swooping in and stealing market share in specific states.
Let's see how this creates a completely surgical soap portfolio. You've got 4 different brands sitting right next to each other on a retail shelf, and they never cannibalize each other. Because without clear segmentation, a big FMCG company ends up competing with itself, which just leads to a disastrous race to the bottom on price. But not HUL. If you're a value-conscious shopper worried about your kids getting sick, you buy Lifebuoy. Premium urban consumer looking for hydration, you reach for Dove. Want mild beauty? Pears. Trust traditional Ayurvedic ingredients? You're grabbing Hamam. It is the same parent company catering to 4 totally different need states with zero self-competition. Pure magic.
And they mirror this exact same playbook in laundry too, covering value seekers, the image-conscious, and premium users without missing a beat. Just think about the core buying drivers. Wheel is heavily targeted at the budget-conscious homemaker. Washing is sold strictly as a functional benefit. It just gets the chore done cheaply. Rin steps it up, targeting consumers based on social benefits, where crisp, bright white clothing is a symbol of pride and social esteem. And then Surf Excel sits comfortably at the top for premium users, driven entirely by those emotional benefits we talked about earlier. The promise of great parenting, plus tackling the absolute toughest stains.
Okay, section 4. Let's bring this all home and get you that perfect, interview-ready summary.
If you write down one thing today, make it this. Segmentation is the art of de-averaging the market. This is exactly how Unilever utterly dominates. Not by casting one massive generic net and hoping for the best, but by casting millions of perfectly sized, highly specific ones. Whether it is a 5-rupee sachet driving crazy volume in a rural village or a high-margin premium beauty serum in a metro city, they know exactly who the customer is, what they deeply value, and exactly how much they are willing to pay for it. So, You now have the market sliced up perfectly into all these beautiful, distinct demographic, geographic, psychographic, and behavioral slices. Awesome. But here is the multi-million-dollar question I'm going to leave you with. Which slice is actually the most profitable to go after first? You obviously can't attack all of them on day one. So how do you decide which segment will yield the absolute highest return on investment? Well, that complex strategic process is called targeting, and that is exactly what we are going to crack open in our next explainer. Until then, keep analyzing the strategy behind the product sitting in your house right now, and I'll see you in the next one.